Marriage wisdom for wives who want a long marriage. When a man stops leading in a marriage, most people assume weakness, but weakness is rarely the full story. Sometimes what looks like passivity is actually adaptation. Adaptation to criticism, adaptation to control, adaptation to constant correction. Leadership inside a marriage requires space. It requires emotional safety. It requires the freedom to try without being evaluated every time. When a husband makes a decision and it is immediately dissected, he learns something. When he initiates something and it is immediately redirected, he learns something. When he steps forward and hears, "That's not how I would do it," he learns something. And over time, what he learns is this: it is easier to step back, not because he doesn't care, but because effort without appreciation becomes exhausting. Some wives think leadership disappears randomly. It does not. It adjusts to the environment. If the emotional environment feels tense, leadership shrinks. If the emotional environment feels critical, initiative shrinks. If the emotional environment feels safe, leadership grows. This is not about dominance. It is about atmosphere. Some women are strong, capable, efficient, alpha, but strength must be balanced with restraint, because when strength becomes constant override, partnership shifts into competition, and marriages are not competitions, they are collaborations. If a man feels like he is constantly competing with his wife, he will eventually stop competing. And that looks like passivity. But underneath it, it is fatigue. Now, this does not excuse irresponsibility, but it explains dynamic. If leadership has weakened in your marriage, ask yourself honestly, did I create space for it, or did I supervise it? Did I encourage it, or did I monitor it? Did I appreciate attempts, or did I focus on flaws? Long marriages require self-evaluation, not blame, evaluation, because growth requires ownership. When you shift tone, he shifts posture. When you reduce correction, he increases effort. When you create safety, he risks trying again. And sometimes leadership returns slowly, quietly, without announcement. But it returns because men respond to environment just like women do. And when environment stabilizes, initiative stabilizes. Marriage is not about who is stronger. It is about who is wise enough to adjust first. There is something many wives never consider when they say their husband stopped leading. They assume he changed. They assume he became passive. They assume he lost ambition. But sometimes what actually happened is emotional shutdown. Emotional shutdown does not look dramatic. It looks calm. It looks quiet. It looks like going along to get along. It looks like less resistance, less opinion, less pushback. And at first, that feels easier. Less arguing, less tension, less friction. But what you also get is less engagement because leadership requires emotional investment. A man cannot lead where he feels dismissed. He cannot lead where every idea is prejudged. He cannot lead where effort is expected, but appreciation is rare. And slowly, he stops offering parts of himself, not all at once, little by little. He stops bringing ideas, stops initiating plans, stops trying to fix things emotionally, stops stepping forward. Because emotionally, stepping forward began to feel unsafe. Not physically unsafe, emotionally unsafe. Unsafe to try, unsafe to be wrong, unsafe to be imperfect, unsafe to be human. When a man feels like he must be perfect to be respected, he eventually stops volunteering because perfection is exhausting. Marriage is supposed to be a safe place to grow, not a performance stage. If leadership feels like a performance that will be graded, he will eventually withdraw from the stage. And wives don't always notice when this shift happens because responsibilities are still getting done, bills still paid, work still happening, daily life still moving. But emotional initiative has reduced. And emotional initiative is where leadership lives. Leadership is not barking orders. Leadership is emotional presence, decision willingness, responsibility, ownership, forward movement. And those things shrink in constant criticism. They shrink in constant correction. They shrink in constant comparison. But they grow in appreciation. They grow in encouragement. They grow where mistakes are not weaponized, where effort is acknowledged, where dignity is protected. Long marriages understand something younger marriages often miss. You cannot criticize someone into becoming better for you. You cultivate better behavior by reinforcing what is working. That does not mean ignoring problems. It means choosing wisdom over reaction, choosing long-term growth over short-term frustration. Because marriage is not about winning daily arguments. It is about building long-term partnership. If you want leadership to return, you must create an environment where trying again feels safe, where effort is welcomed, where dignity is intact, where mistakes are not permanent labels. Because people grow where they are respected, not where they are constantly evaluated. And when respect becomes atmosphere again, leadership often returns quietly, not announced, not dramatic, but steady. And steady leadership builds steady marriages, and steady marriages last. And that is how long marriages are built.